because, whatever. Okay, where I went to high school, we were a pretty mixed school. Black,
and
Mexican, Asian. Well, I'm not talking about Prairie Valley, I'm talking about Hershey. But we were pretty mixed. We didn't live in a white, rich neighborhood in California where it's all rich white kids.
You lived in the goddamn ghetto.
We had the first Technovational Plaza in the nation.
Really?
Yeah, that kind of pissed me off when I heard that.
How only the rich white kids were getting the education and nobody else is.
Well, to be fair, Brandy and I drove to Oklahoma this weekend. We saw a billboard in Clarksville. Do you know Clarksville's the first 2 gigabyte city in the state of Arkansas?
Yeah.
2 gig
Internet. 2 gigabyte internet.
We don't even have 1 gig here.
I know.
The fastest I've got is 1 gig.
Clarksville is installing it right now. We were like,
how the fuck
did Clarksville? You'd think it'd be in Little Rock if anywhere.
Yeah.
But we were like, okay then.
Well, that perturbs me.
Yeah, me too. I was like,
now I feel like I need
2 gigabyte internet.
It's a gigabit, but 2 gigabit internet
I feel
speed.
like I could use it.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel now put upon that I don't have it.
Yeah,
me too.
Hands down.
But yeah, we were like, that was random.
Yeah, so that's seriously a random place in Arkansas to do that.
And so we were like, I wonder, who got the, what's the story behind that? Did somebody write a really great grant proposal?
And that's kind of how it was with our Technovational Plaza. It was like a school in Wichita Falls, Texas was the
how
first
did that
one
happen?
to get it in the nation. It was a cool class.
I'd really like to know the story of how that came to be.
Yeah, we had...
You should hear all the bullshit they had.
Oh, yeah, we had different stations. It was
much stuff.
It was the old gymnasium. We had different stages. We had a stage where we worked with lasers and mirrors.
How cool.
Another one where you could build robots out of Legos.
Oh, yeah.
That's just
we had our own news...
like a little
news center
desk
with the green screen.
Oh my god!
We had a wind tunnel.
You could get your fucking pilot's license there.
Yeah, we had a pilot license program.
See, that's what I'm saying.
That's insane. That's cool though.
We had
and this was back in the 90s,
mid 90s,
where you could do the house plans online.
Oh yeah, like AutoCAD.
I mean, it was so much cool stuff.
That is so cool.
We didn't have any of that. We had.
Yeah.
We didn't.
The autopilot thing was different from.
Yeah.
That wasn't part of the technical.
Yeah.
It was just
the
extra
only computers that were in my school. There was one classroom. It had those old Commodore 64 type things with operating systems on a fucking
where the
5x5
keyboard plugged into the thing,
So we started using computers in first grade.
That's what I started on, was Commodore 64.
I did not use a computer until I was married, mother of 2.
I did not use a computer until I was in college.
I started using them in 1986.
And and that's like
if we would have had that type of shit. I would have been in the computer programming.
It was awesome. We loved
stuff.
computer class because we had the number crunch, the one with the vowels, and it was all Oregon Trail, of course.
Yeah, that's see, we didn't have any of that, and I got a job when I went back to work after Austin was born. Yep. So he was probably 9 months old when I went back to work. And I got a job working for a construction company, and I was I ran the office. So I had to do payroll on the computer. I had to do it, and it was via job and work order. So I had to put all that in to track it, and it was Windows 3.1.
That's what my first computer had.
And
with a 2K modem.
What year was that?
Well, Austin, 95.
That's when I got mine.
Yeah.
And do you know how hard it is?
That's crazy. I was using it 10 years before
Do you know how long it takes to download porn on a 2K modem?
You don't.
Long time.
The porn actresses have died by the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so
that screen that said time remaining 18 years.
Yeah. You're going to be too old.
Yeah.
You're going to be impotent by the time you get.
You need to just go ahead and take care of it yourself.
But yeah, it was in 1995, and I just. Because it was one of those jobs where I was either crazy busy or I had long periods of nothing to do. So in the long periods of nothing to do, I would just learn the insides because there was no looking it up on that. You just get it. And so I would just play around with that and see what I could do with it. And so I worked there for a few years, and they were contracted to the telephone company. It was GTE at the time. and they lost the contract, and so we ran the contract business for the whole state. So it was either I could move with them and keep my job or be let go. So they wanted me to move with them, and I wouldn't leave my mama. So that's when I went to work at the United Way. And so then they were looking for somebody to be their IT director. And I was like, they didn't have anybody, and I would hang around a lot, and kind of when we'd have people come in work on the network, and I'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense, and when other people would have questions in the office about why something wasn't, I'd be like, well, here's what they did. And then it got to be like when somebody's computer wouldn't work, somebody in the office would call me to fix it, and I would fix it. And so finally the president was like, clearly you have a knack here, and he sent me to school for it, and that's how I got to be the IT director and got my certifications and stuff, and that led the rest of my life. But I was just thinking, like, if I had access to computers and all that when I was 12 instead of 26, where would I end up?
See, being in first grade, I didn't know it's what it was. I mean, I thought everybody...
It was just normal.
I mean, our computer class probably had 10 to 15 computers in it. And then until I went to Prairie Valley, moved to Nakona, where we didn't have computers.
Then you were like, damn.
I think maybe the last year or two we had a little computer class. It was very basic.
Yeah.
Or we did Oregon Trail. I'm like... I did this shit in first grade. I'm in high school now.
Our computer class was learning how to fucking type.
Yeah.
No, we actually had typewriters.
Class.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
We actually had the typewriters for that class. But then I moved back to Wichita Falls, and we had I took Technovational Plaza, I took multimedia, got to learn Photoshop. I mean,
you know what burns my ass? There are schools, a lot of schools that have programming.
Yeah.
In elementary school.
In your curriculum,
yeah.
And I mean, that's great. I just wish those things had existed.
I wish that would have been a thing when I was in elementary school instead of trying to teach myself to fucking program at 41 years old, which is goddamn near impossible.
Like, I did teach everything I know, and pretty much everything I do revolves around computers. All my artwork is...
Yeah, I mean, that's my job.
Yeah. Well, it was my job until I retired, and then, I've done book covers that were all from, I've completely self-taught on Photoshop, PaintShop Pro, Illustrator, pretty much... Poser, just like lists and lists and lists of software that I've self-taught. And it's like, God damn, if I'd have had that to focus on, because obviously that was just something that kind of like clicked with me. And if I had any kind of exposure to that as a little girl, there's no telling what I could have done.
Oh my God.
And that's why not just little girls, not just every child needs access to STEM.
It still amazes me that in 1997 at my high school you get a pilot's license.
But that's just so cool.
That's crazy.
I would love to know how that came to be at your school.
My senior year, because I moved back to there in my senior year, and I wish we could have moved earlier because I took all the cool classes.
Oh yeah,
I took medical
terminology
and all the computer classes.
That's cool. That's great.
Well, the one thing that kills me as far as that kind of stuff is we've gotten away from teaching people a skill.
Yeah,
it's now it's to where you've got to go to college or you won't amount to anything.
Oh my God.
And the thing is, now we've got so many people out here with college degrees that
now
don't
people realize,
mean anything. Because,
now people realize that they didn't need college.
I feel triggered by that, Ross.
You get what I'm saying?
True, yeah.
No,
you wind up with all this debt.
Because let me tell you what, I wish I knew before I finished my bachelor's degree what I know now. Oh, I wouldn't be fucking $92,000 deep in student loans.
But not only not just yours though, Chris, because I mean you knew what you were going after and you went for something that you needed to do, but there's so many of them that are being
essentially, Ross, I had the same career.
Your bachelor's.
My bachelor's is management
your
too.
Computer stuff.
Okay, that wasn't a bachelor's though.
I know. That was.
But here's the thing: the computer
But
stuff.
here's what I'm talking about.
I had the same career, and I never had a college.
So here's the thing: the reason that I'm in the job that I'm in now is not because of my bachelor's in management. It's not because of my master's in management. It's because of my certifications for A+ and Net Plus and, all the other.
That's what got me. Here's my path that was
Here's my point. Is they're being pushed so hard to go to college. They're young. They don't know what the fuck they want to do.
It's just
so they go into some dead-end fucking curriculum. And I've got a college degree.
That's more about liberal arts cores than it is about. See, here's the thing: if there are only a few jobs that you need an
actual degree.
If you're going to med school, you need a degree in biology or chemistry or biochem or something like that,
so you can understand the basics of what.
Right. If you're going into engineering, law.
Yeah.
But if you're
highly specialized careers,
right? But if you're going into technology, you don't need a degree
because it changes too fast.
And exactly. To me, that was a good point right there. If you're going into something very specialized, go to college. If you don't plan on doing anything in your life that's as specialized as being an engineer
or a veterinarian, a doctor, a surgeon.
Like you don't have to go to college. Go to a trade school and learn
and nobody
a job.
is saying don't get an education because that's not the same.
That's not the same thing. Hell yeah,
trade school is valued.
Yeah, a vocational
trade
school
is what this country
is built on.
Yeah, and it needs because we're getting so far away from it.
We're getting so many people with degrees that aren't serving them.
You can go to a vocational school and learn to be a plumber, learn
electrician.
To weld. Oh my god,
electrician, yeah.
Welders, a good welder can make $60 an hour. Learn all of these legitimate trades that are in such demand.
That are literally what keeps our country moving.
Well, like all these diesel mechanic schools.
Yeah, that's
Go
what
become a diesel mechanic. Those guys make excellent money.
Yeah.
And guess what? Our whole country moves around on trucks, so they're going to be needed.
Everybody has a car, and everybody's going to have a car, and that you know who they need, motherfuckers to work on.
Yeah,
and somebody to fix the fueling technology that keeps it running. I mean, there's just so much. Nobody said don't get an education because education is vital.
You have to have education.
I'll tell you,
that doesn't mean college.
I'll tell you a good example.
People think they're synonymous, and they're not.
And this is a military thing. But it's a good example that illustrates this exact point. When my brother went into the military the first time, he went in before we went to Iraq the first time.
Yeah, he went in at 17.
He went in under it was military intelligence. But here's what he did: he sat in a Bradley that was completely loaded with electronic equipment, and they were attached to an armored division. And they would go out and paint targets with all the electronics and all that shit. What the hell are you going to do with that when you get out?
See, that's why
it was totally geared towards that right there.
Yeah, when I was in the military, I was an aircraft mechanic, and that was fine.
However, aircraft mechanic, you can come out and you can go to work
in the outside world.
Yeah, you can go to work at Mid-Coast by the airport. You can go to work,
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Because where do you think all the other aircraft mechanics go?
Right.
Okay, and I get that. But at least it's a skill that you can use when
I was a
multi-channel
operator maintainer.
See, you would have been somebody that got out and went,
what am I going to do with that?
She'd have been able to work at a radio station.
Like as an engineer or whatever.
But again, how many other people...
Yeah, but what...
I don't know. I remember sitting in a trailer and you put plugs here, like the old operators.
The old style operators.
Okay.
Plugs
you would have had to invent a time machine and take her back to 1920.
Yeah.
We put up antennas.
But what
out in the field.
Yeah. But if I knew then what I know now, I would have gone into network security because when I was when you're getting out of the military, there's like 4 or 5 days worth of briefings that you have to go to, and we were going around the room and telling what our Air Force specialty code was and what we planned on doing when we got out.
After we got out.
Yeah. And this one girl, she was a network security engineer. She'd been in for, 6 years maybe? The Air Force paid for her CCNA, CCNP, Cisco Certified Network Associate Professional, and her CCIE, which is the top Cisco thing that you can only take this test in one place. That's in Silicon Valley, and it is 3 days long. And if you have that, You tell motherfuckers how much they're going to pay you. She said that with that and her top secret clearance, the lowest job offer that she had, this is in 2005, was $150,000 a year.
That's awesome.
She said she has